Redditors who have dated celebrities, how'd it go? D-lister and most insecure and narcissistic person I know. I really did care about him, but I couldn't handle the lack of accountability and them always having to be right or the center of attention. Too much. I will stick to my non-celebs. She was famous in another country. We met when she was visiting friends in my country. I met her at a group outing and didn't know who she was. I asked her out and she said yes because she thought I was funny. I didn't clue in that she was famous until our third date, and only because, on a few occasions, expats from her country recognized her out in public. She was really hesitant to explain, but when she finally did, I was just like, oh, that's cool. I didn't make a big deal out of it, which in retrospect I think preserved our relationship. I've never made a big deal of her job or showed her off as my celebrity girlfriend because, well, I'm not a fan. Haha. I think if I did, that would have been a deal breaker. She has a weird relationship with fame. She didn't enjoy being famous at all. To her, fame was the price she had to pay to do the thing that she loved and was really good at. When we were together in my country, we could be more normal, occasionally being approached by fans notwithstanding. The couple times I visited her in her country, we spent most of our time in the hotel or in places where her privacy could be guaranteed. Eventually, she just quietly withdrew from the public eye and moved to my country. We've been married 7 years now, and I'm constantly on the lookout for signs that mommy's talents got passed on either or both of our kids. Haha. It was surreal with very little private time for him to be himself. I knew him from high school before fame, so he liked being himself around me. Ultimately, he became very controlling. No one tells them no. And upset, so would drop my life for his. The social and financial power imbalance is always present. I met Hugh Jackman on the streets of New York, drinking a Pilsner out of a paper bag and eating a slice of pizza. I was on my way to see the Violent Femmes at Roseland Ballroom. I totally asked him to come with me. He said no, but I took it as a win. It's not every day you get to ask out Hugh Jackman. I dated a Hollywood actor. He took me to a Hollywood party, where all the other celebrities were. He left with a Hollywood actress. I met enough celebrities that night not to care. Although I do like to say they all got to meet me. Did get invited to more Hollywood parties and was blown away that it was all the same people at every single party. We met in a random club when he showed up for a surprise performance. I happened to be dancing on stage and was told to keep dancing as all but 1 or 2 other girls were kicked off the stage. We danced on stage for a couple of songs after his performance and then asked me to give him a ride to the studio. He was really down to earth and signed a bunch of autographs. The weekend after he left town, he flew me to his hometown and we spent like 3 days together, which ended in me meeting his mom and sisters. Before I left, he asked me to stay with him, quit my job, and commit to a relationship. I would have to travel with him non-stop as he was promoting a new album. I liked him, but couldn't hand over my financial security for a guy that I barely knew. I tried to slow things down and he took it super personal. Then he wrote a song about me, which made me sound like a bitch. And it played on the radio constantly for the next few months. I know he wrote it about me because he left a voicemail of recording it in studio. I sat next to Natalie Portman on a plane once. We talked all about designer handbags, and then were there for each other through some bad turbulence. She was already taken, and I'm gay, but it was still a relationship I'll never forget. My friend's friend hooked up with John Mayer after one of his concerts in his tour bus. She said he was a horndog and was into butt sex. I dated a fairly famous female heavy metal musician for a while. The long-distance, constant travel thing ended up being very much not for me, so we ended things. About 8 years ago, I met Corey Feldman at a Comic-Con. He proceeded to ask me out. I respectfully declined. Then he tried to get me to go to a haunted house with him. I'm much younger than he is, haha. My parents say I could have been with a D-list celebrity every time we watch a movie he was in. Not a celebrity, but a real-deal model. I was in college and this woman was in my class. She kind of had an exotic, funky look to her and laughed at my jokes. So we hung out. Me? I was a total nerd. So it never occurred to me that there was anything between us. I mean, here she was. Tall, lean, elegant, perfect face, and kind of an edgy look to her. Me? Glasses, and I was skinny enough that I could have been a trellis for varicose veins. So imagine my surprise when eventually she asked me out. On our third date, I went over to her place. As it turns out, she had lived in Europe for 3 years and, had done some modeling. She moved home when her mom died to be with her dad and figured she'd finish her degree. So she asked if I'd like to see her portfolio. Sure, I said, thinking it would be the usual catalog stuff. Nope. Elle, Italian Vogue, and a number of other fashion mags. About 10 total. I was dating a cover girl and didn't even realize it. And to her credit, she had never really mentioned it. Always low-keyed it. However, I didn't really tell anyone. Because I figured she'd dump me sooner and later and didn't want to be embarrassed. Finally, one Saturday night, she asked my Sunday plans. When I mentioned my family was going to have the usual Sunday dinner, she asked, well, what time? Quote. Well, so I mentioned that a girl I was dating was going to come by for dinner. My 2 brothers and my sister kind of ribbed me about it, and my mom was thrilled that I was actually dating someone. I actually had a dating life, but I kept it completely from my family because, quite frankly, my brothers and my sister could be snide assholes. So the doorbell rang. I opened it, and she strolled in. Black leather pants and jacket. Some edgy-looking blouse. And her hair kind of with a funky early 80s Pat Benatar look. I did mention it was the 80s. Right? You could have heard a pin drop. Dinner went on for a couple of hours and I left with her. The next day, my oldest brother said, so there's a side to you we don't know about, isn't there? Quote. It lasted about 6 months. But, truthfully, dating her was kind of exhausting after a while. Because she was so insecure about what she looked like, what she ate. Dinner was always kind of an ordeal. Nobody could believe that I was the one who let the relationship slide. My friend almost dated Marissa Tomei. Apparently she has a thing for balding men. Well, he wasn't a celebrity when I dated him. I got pregnant and he was just talking to somebody about moving to the West Coast and playing in their band. He didn't want me to have the kid, but I did anyway and told him I wouldn't bother him. I knew it would screw him up because almost 30 years ago they would make guys get a job and working gigs playing guitar wasn't going to cut it. So I never went for child support and we only rarely spoke after that. Child turned 15 I think, and something went on with my husband and I had to file child support for the first time. That's when I found out that he was a full-blown rock star. He pulled the whole "that's not my kid" thing. We got the DNA test. 100% you are the father. Kid got to know him in between his concert tours. He's definitely a different person now and I'm kind of glad I didn't know that person way back when. Not exactly what you asked, but that's my celebrity story. He was an NHL player. We dated for about 8 months and actually were engaged. I broke it off and give back the ring when I realized being a hockey wife would make me go insane in the long run. I dated an actor who played the lead in an Oscar-nominated movie. He was charming at first but turned out to be the most self-centered and insecure person I've known. He needed constant attention and praise. He would call me at least 5 times a day to talk about himself. He constantly wanted me to confirm his dick was huge. It wasn't. Complained about not having a prettier face. Tore himself down as an actor but got angry if I didn't contradict him, etc., etc. Utterly draining. Like an energy vampire or something. I called it quits after 1 month. Not me but a coworker's sister-in-law. She hooked up with TJ Miller in the late '00s before he hit Hollywood and was still a traveling stand-up comic. My coworker, his wife, and sister-in-law all went to a comedy show where TJ hooked up with the Sill, and they all went back to their house to presumably drink and hang where he spent the night. In the morning they found the front door open and the cookies the wife had cooked the night before were gone. He wouldn't shut up about it for years until he finally saw the guy and realized it was the same person. TLDR. TJ Miller is an alleged cookie thief. My wife was on Delicious Destinations. Does that count? She's my celebrity, lol. Never dated, but once had dinner with Nichelle Nichols. She was the most amazing person I ever met. Full of great stories and would sing at the drop of a hat. She was a true American treasure. My roommate dated a TikTok celebrity with tens of millions of followers. She was mean, manipulative, petty, and annoying. He was obsessed with her, though. I have no idea what he saw in her other than the fact that she was superficially attractive. And somewhat successful, I suppose. I dated a male model who did runway and photo for Ralph Lauren and Calvin Klein. Does that count? He was super pretty and absolutely zero chemistry. He went on to be in a HGTV show.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.